I was scrolling through YouTube about 2 or 3 weeks ago when I came across this video from Smug. This is a video of Smug in Europe. I think this is for Red Bull Kumite, and if you notice, the person he's playing is Reichmann's Barnett. This is the same Minot that would go on to win the CPT for his region and qualify for Capcom Cup. After watching this, I wanted to learn about this character. I thought she looked very interesting and very flashy. As a beginner, when I picked up this game and I saw this character for the first time, I thought she was a little bit too much and a little bit too complex for me. But now that I've been playing for a while, I feel like I'm up to the challenge. So after that, I closed this video and I just looked up a Minot guide. The first one I saw was Shiv's, which is a great guide, and I watched pretty much every part of it. Not all at once. Basically, as I needed to learn these new things, I would come back to the part of the guide that I needed. The first one, I watched the whole thing, went and played a little bit, and then I came back and I think I watched the one about neutral. And then I learned the V-Trigger 1 combo, some of her normal combos, and I started having trouble actually getting into V-Trigger 1 and being able to do the combo, so I watched part 7, and that's just how I kept going. And now I want to share with you everything that I've learned in the past 2 weeks. But before I do, if you enjoy this video, please consider subscribing. I'd really appreciate it. Let's start with the things I had to learn the hard way, things that weren't so obvious. One is this is a great poke, and this is also a great poke. But if you use it too much, people will catch on to it and just jump over it. It's a very slow button, and it goes pretty far. It's almost like throwing a fireball up close. They'll just jump in on you. So you have to use it and really pay attention to what your opponent does in reaction to getting hit by it or blocking it. Same goes for this button. And the other thing I had to learn was that this orb acts like a projectile, so things like Bison's V-Skill 1 will actually reflect the orb. If you ever get caught up in the fireball game against a character like Nash, who can absorb things, he can literally absorb his fireball back after you reflect it and just grab it out of the air and build V-meter off of it. Her punish game is a little bit more unorthodox than other characters too. You really have to keep track of whether you have this orb in your hand or not, because her normals change and then the combo routes change. And even if you do have the orb out, if he swept me like way over here and the orb's way over there, I can't punish with it, right? So it's just keeping up with the orb and keeping up with whether it's in your hand or not changes the punishes that you get. So if he swept me right here, for example, and I had the orb in my hand, I think the best I could get would be like I could sweep him back, or I could do crouch medium punch into an orb set, or I could even, if I wanted to burn meter, then things change again, right? So I could do like a jab into this if I want to burn the meter. But if he swept me right here, and let's say the orb's right there and I get swept, I could do something like this, right? Or I think I could even end in V-Skill. It's just you have to keep up with a lot more on the screen than I'm used to, and you have to keep track of what's in your hand, what's not in your hand, where the orb's at. If you can even punish where with the orb based on where it's at behind them, and trying to basically keep this thing in a range where it's effective, right? So right here would be fine, and I've sort of been using it like I want it behind them or I want it on top of them, and if it's not there, I'll recall it so I can set it up again if I need to. You can also use this to whiff punish a lot. So if you keep it at a decent range and they whiff a button that you normally would not be able to punish on other characters, you can recall and punish with it. And sometimes you get a combo based on how close you are when the recall hits. Another thing that's not really specific to her, but specific to like zoners and characters with long limbs, so probably like Dalsum, Poison, and Minot, you cannot let yourself get pressured or cornered for free, which means your anti-airs, and basically you have to be looking to check your opponent's approach very proactively, and your anti-airs have to be on point. You cannot, usually I have like pretty weak anti-airs, but you can't let that happen on this character, because then even if you're checking every dash and you're checking every approach on the ground, they'll just start jumping at you, and eventually they'll get you in the corner and you're screwed, right? Once you're in the corner, it's very hard to get out. You might be able to, I don't know, dive kick over them. Her V reversal isn't the best, but it does put her on the other side. So sometimes you can use that. Overall, it's just not a fun situation in the corner, so you want to avoid that at all cost by checking dashes and make sure your anti-airs are really on point. She has 3, I think. This is one that I use the most. She does have a DP, and then she has like stand heavy kick. And this is with and without the orb, right? So these two don't change. And then the DP, I think, doesn't change. Oh, it does change because she has to do the explosion. I forgot about that. So you can't DP when the orb is out. If you do it, it does that. It basically makes them, it makes the orb explode and then they bounce into you. You've probably seen it 1,000 times. Other than that, it's just been a lot of labbing V-Trigger 1 stuff, activating into it, and then doing the combo itself. The combo route changes sometimes depending on the range you're at. So right now I've only been using, I've been like hit confirming from mid range with stand medium punch into it, so I can use this starter. Also, this is the other one that I learned. So if you're really close, you have to do like this, and then you have to dash forward and do a stand light kick recall, or a crouch light kick recall, because if you use the other route, the stand medium punch one, that close, this first medium kick orb just hits way too early for you to really do anything with it. And I can get pretty far into that V-Trigger 1 combo, but I cannot do the ender yet with the last 2 orbs on the top. So if I activate here, those 2 orbs at the top, which I believe are the light punch ones and the light kick ones, you're supposed to launch them and then juggle with those into super or whatever, but I have not gotten that far yet. I can do everything up until that point, and then I'll usually just end with like this or something, right? I also need to learn a route for the corner, because if you start in the corner, this orb set acts a little bit differently. Like, it goes really far, and by the time you recall it, I'm pretty sure they can just block, because it's happened to me twice now. So I've got to find a route to use in the corner there. But that's pretty much it, I think. I'm just trying to refine my neutral a lot more and use these buttons effectively, but not overuse them to the point where people are just jumping in on me constantly and I'm losing because of it. And then my anti-airs, right? Just trying to stay sharp on these while still being able to check dashes on the ground, because keeping your opponent at bay on characters like this is really important. All right, that's going to be it for today. If you enjoyed this one, consider subscribing, and I'll talk to you again soon.